Boston Massacre is a well-known U.S. event, but the events leading up to the massacre and preceding it are less known. To give some context to the massacre, the Stamp Act and the Townshend Acts had just been passed in Parliament. The colonists were very upset with this as they had no representation and were not used to such taxation. Many colonists called for the boycott of British goods in the colonies. Anyone who continued to sell British goods were often berated and harassed. One such store owner was Ebenezer Richardson. And on February 22nd, a group of boys decided to vandalize his shop with stones and snowballs and broke a lot of things in his store. This led him to flee to the second story of his store, which was his home, grab a musket, and open fire at the group of boys. An 11-year-old kid named Christopher Sider died. This caused an outrage in the city of Boston. He ended up turning himself in as he was scared that an angry mob would end up killing him. Just days later, on March 5th, 1770, another mob started to form. This time they homed in on a single British soldier protecting the custom house. He was being assaulted with sticks and stones and snowballs until he had to call out for reinforcements. Finally, Captain Thomas Preston appeared with other British soldier reinforcements. Together they stood guard at the custom house, while the mob grew and grew and became much more bold. They repeatedly threw stones, oysters, snowballs, and sticks at the soldiers, while also hitting them with clubs and anything they could find. In the chaos, one of the soldiers opened fire, and this led to the reaction of the other soldiers was to also fire, as they thought an order had been given to fire. This was part of the scene at the time, which is complete chaos. This event was used by Samuel Adams, John Hancock, and Paul Revere, among many other founding fathers, to spur on the colonists to continue and against the British in general. Ironically, John Adams ended up representing the soldiers in court. He would end up becoming the second president, but here he was in court defending British soldiers. He convinced the court to move away from Boston and use non-Bostonian juries, as it would be more fair to the people. Ended up, only 2 men were convicted, and they were only convicted of manslaughter, and their punishment was much less severe than the death penalty, which was considered at the beginning. This is a depiction of what the trial was like during that time. John Adams set a standard that everyone should have a fair and just trial, regardless of the circumstances and regardless of who they are. Thank you. I'd like to also show my wonderful audience.